What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Civilization 5 East Asian AI only battle. I hope you enjoyed episode 1, and we'll get right into episode 2 at turn 50. Hope everyone made their picks as well for who they think is going to win. And yeah, we'll see what happens next. It's quite an exciting start. Only 2 wars so far, right? We've got the Champa versus the Shan states here, and we've also got Japan v Korea, which just begun. So we'll keep an eye on those early on, see what happens. We did do a bit of an in-depth on the religion and stuff as well, which I've pretty much forgotten all of it, sorry. It's not as easy to remember as you think when you just read through some lists. I remember some of the key bonuses. I'm sure we'll look back at it again at some other points. But there, we've got some more stuff going on. There we go. Mao continuing to get a lot of wonders as they People's Republic grab the Chichen Itza wonder. So another one for them. And not looking so good for the Shan, who did settle another city up here at some point. Must have missed that, but that's there now. But that will split the Champa's attention, so that might have been a good move. I don't know how they got a settler here anyway, but they did, so fair play. And what else we got? The Xia has joined in, probably not going to make a difference, and Chiang Kai-shek's China has joined in again, not probably going to make a huge difference. But there we go. We'll see what happens. But if they can hold on to this stuff, they'll be doing pretty good, and obviously maybe you want one more city to connect these two eventually. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. But the Champa does look pretty strong. So we'll see how well they defend themselves. See how it goes for them. As you can see, the turns flying by. I say that, the Champa's turn's now taking a while, but the rest of them flying by. And just like that, I mean, it's because, I guess he's got 2 good cities. Yeah, he got this one in Tianjin instead of Shanghai. But he gets the Petra as well, and with all that desert, that is going to be a very useful bonus for the People's Republic, who I think that's their 5th wonder already. So they're certainly racking them up. Getting all those bonuses, so that will make up for not having the biggest military in the world, for sure. Mongolia now declares war on Chiang Kai-shek's China. Now these cities are fine. It's more interesting is this one, which probably will go to Mongolia, unless China maybe joins in and takes it for themselves. Japan's invasion did not go too well. Seoul looking fine. They've defended themselves for now. Korea, another civ, not too expansive, just a couple of cities so far, but both good size. So we'll see, and there's plenty of space for them between here and China to go get some more land. So we'll see what happens. No, Japan always had this. I thought this might have been a new city, but no. We'll see. No settlers up and running just yet. It's been a while. Oh, but there we go. This is new. So the Liao has settled their 3rd city. Keeping it close to home. They did have that settler walking around for a while. And the Champa complete Machu Picchu, which makes sense. They've got a few mountains around. And Japan and Korea piecing out. Nothing going down there. And New Siam has completed Colossus, so they will get a free cargo ship. That's the one. I got confused with the statue of Zeus last episode. I'm sure some of you guys have corrected me already, but there we go. That's what they've got instead. Not the statue of Zeus. It's the Colossus that gives the free cargo ship, and that's a nice little economic boost for New Siam down here, who don't look great. I don't know what they don't have many units. Bit concerned for them, and they look a bit old as well. So I don't know what they're doing, but it's not really working out for them. But so far, the Shan states are holding off the Champa fine. We have an enhancement of Confucianism by Korea. What else is going on? Burma's just chilling. Oh, and we have our first spy as Korea enters the Renaissance era at turn 61. We are on deity difficulty, so they're going to get there pretty quickly. And a city, the first city to fall, is Chungking here. And yeah, I mean, Mongolia sort of had that pretty easily. Wasn't too hard for them to get, so fair enough. You know, no surprises there. Korea has completed the Great Mosque of Zhen, which is... Well, I was forgetting where Korea was because they're not the usual colour scheme. But there we go. So that's going to help their religion. And Mongolia has peaced out. Yeah, that makes perfect sense because, you know, you're not going to get down here, I'm afraid. So good choice. There's so many big militaries in this area. Look at this. The Xia. Tons of units. Chiang Kai-shek's China, tons of units. Even Mao is starting to get a ton of units for the People's Republic. And here we go. Most gold, not the best list in the world. Some spend it, some don't. Ming currently has the biggest bank account. And they did just grab their 3rd city here in Fuzhou. Or Fuzhou. Sorry, I'm going to butcher a lot of these pronunciations. I apologize. Feel free to, you know, if you know what they are in sort of English, then, or how to say them, then let me know, and I'll try my best to remember. I think I've gotten pretty good at it. I'm getting used to being corrected now with a lot of things. I mean, it's going to happen with these maps. Cities all over the place, different languages. But yeah, I'm open to it. If you tell me, if you give me the correct pronunciations, I'll give it my best. And sometimes I'll just say this city if it's too hard as well. We have another random China, just with another random settler going into this region. It's actually starting to fill up now. I guess Ming's borders have got really big as well, just because they've only had 2 cities. China did declare war on the Shah, which is huge actually. This kind of is head-to-head, but I think the element of surprise is going to give China a good chance to grab this city. And Mao has once again another wonder, Notre Dame. And Shanghai's now at 19 population. That must be the biggest. I think now we have a spy. I can actually check. Yep, it's just ahead of Tang, which... Oh no, sorry, Beijing in Tang, China. So Shanghai and Beijing, the biggest cities in Asia at the moment. Then it is Vijaya of the Champa, Sichuan of the Jia, and Phra Nakhon. That's almost certainly wrong, but Phra Nakhon of Siam. Ming's just outside Shan, but probably everyone's capital. Ming is the first civ to have 2 cities on the list. There you go. But there you go, Notre Dame. I think that's 10? 5 or 10 happiness. Sorry, I can't remember all these bonuses, but it's definitely happiness. So that's going to help out, because obviously they've got a big population, maybe not so many luxuries, so they were probably struggling with happiness, so that's going to help them. And just as that happens, Korea getting another wonder, Borobudur, which just always the best one to say. And again, if I remember correctly, that's also related to religion. So we might see some nice Confucianism start to do well. The only problem is Korea's still pretty isolated, and I don't know, are they working? Like, they don't seem to like leaving their borders, do they? Look, they're just sort of probing around, but I don't see much of them. Okay, they have a scout and a Galeas, but there's not too much. There is a ton of missionaries now crossing the water. We'll see what happens with those guys. Could be interesting. Japan, you got any settlers up yet? No. They've got quite a good population. I bet they're doing well overall with 3 good medium-sized cities. The Philippines, by the way, is open. That's sort of the colonizable area for this game, so we could see Japan or someone here. Taiwan, whichever one we're going for is here as well. That's the one that haunts me. That's one of the pronunciations where I can't remember. Someone corrected it, but they never corrected it. They just told me I pronounced it like an idiot, and I think there was a few more expletives in there, which was funny. But there we go. Okay, so Mongolia now with 6 cities. I believe that is the most. China, though, is making some good progress. We'll focus on this. I think this is the main battle, unless the Shan is... yeah, no, they're still defending themselves just fine. Another wonder for the People's Republic. They must have an ability linked to wonders. They get Hagia Sophia, which I think is another religious wonder. They don't even have a religion, so that's quite an impressive one, but it will give them some extra faith, I guess. Just stealing it away, or it might be cultural. But Mongolia has sort of declared war on China. So China was about to grab this city. So we'll see how this pans out now, because they're going to have to go back up north. And yeah, they peace out immediately to go defend. But sadly, the element of surprise has now caught them out, because I think Mongolia's got this in the bag. They should be able to grab Xi'an or Xi'an here, however you pronounce that one, fairly easily. Which will be a frustration. What else we got? Mao Zedong has entered the Renaissance era. Okay, we got China in trouble. Okay, keeping an eye on what's going on. How is Ming looking? This city's borders... oh yeah, there is faster plot expansion on. So it is cheaper for like your borders to grow. So you're probably going to see a lot of these civs, like their borders will be growing by 1 every turn. So the map will fill up really quickly. You can see Ming here is huge already, actually. Probably not first, but they do look really big. Probably because they're all connected. That makes them look bigger. Alhambra. Finally, someone else gets their hands on a wonder. It is Alhambra for Burma. And they also settle this city here, Mandalay, which is a canal city. I mean, it only really affects... I mean, Shan can't even get out, but the Siam maybe will get some boats. Maybe they will want this one day. And, oh my goodness. What is your special ability? But either way, the People's Republic of China grabs another city in these mountains. So that's good. We've got a few of them filling up now. Well, not another. Their first city in those mountains. But they also get Angkor Wat. So another wonder. Right, where's the Civilopedia thing? Help. Let's have a look. Civilizations and leaders. There's 3 Chinas here. Which one is it? It is this one. Land generates culture. Land units get culture for moving into enemy territory, increasing by every social policy tree completed or level 3 tenor enacted. Okay, none of that stuff has anything to do with wonders. So maybe he just really likes them. Maybe that's what it is. They have the Red Guard, which is a rifleman replacement. But again, that's not... I think that's it. Unique amphitheater. provide stuff to great writers? No. So I don't know what's going on there. They just really like their wonders. I mean, Shanghai is obviously probably a city with great production. It's definitely got so much food. I don't know. And then, yeah, there's mines. Oh, look at this mine area. Yeah, there's loads of mines here. And then there's all food this side. They're probably going to be fine. That's lots. That's like a perfect storm, right? You're just getting so much population, and then you can work all the mines as well. It's just, yeah, that is... just sounds pretty much, you know, pretty accurate, right? That is China's main strength in real life, is its population. So, there we go. This city's pretty big too. In fact, the two biggest cities are pretty much next to each other. I think this isn't second, but there we go. Beijing is joint first. But there we go, Xi'an, or Xi'an, sorry again. It does fall to Mongolia, so they're still looking good here with sort of 7 now. But again, I don't think they would have... I don't think they're actually stronger than China. Again, I just think it was complete... They caught them by surprise, right? I think Beijing and Guangzhou is pretty safe. But we'll see. You never know. Obviously, if Liao attacks as well or something, that can change things. And Chiang Kai-shek's China settled here. Now, that's not so big for him. But obviously, for someone like Ming, they're probably going to conquer this one day. So that's... it means they don't have to settle it. Somebody else will. And there still isn't that many coastal cities in this region. It's very... You see this coast here. I mean, there's New Siam. And obviously the Southeast Asian nations all sort of have a coastal city somewhere. Yeah, all of them have at least one. Even if some of them are not the best positioned, like this one. Oh my gosh, they just got another one. The Sistine Chapel. What is going on? That's ridiculous, but okay. I think we saw something similar last time. I don't know what's doing it. I guess maybe it's just the AI's personality preference. People have asked me to use random personalities. We'll try that out in a more generic game in the future. Most well fed though. Japan now leading the way. Then it is New Siam, Korea, the Xia, and Liao. Top 5 in those statistics as we hit turn 80. I'm not sure how far we're going to get today, because obviously at turn 100 we'd normally look at the info addicts. Which I don't know. We might be perfectly on track to do that and have another little recap at turn 100. Because I said this battle's going to go probably a lot quicker than the other ones, and we can look a bit more in depth because there's less civs. It's a smaller map, so yeah, this one's probably going to run a lot quicker. It's almost like if you exclude some of the ocean territory that doesn't really matter, it's pretty much like a normal large civ map, right? That's been sculpted. I mean, it's not that much larger than, probably is a similar size to sort of the standard large map in the game. So it's not too big of an issue there. And here we go, another city for the People's Republic of China has been settled right in the desert. But, you know, make the most of the space. There's a limited amount of space. As much, you know, there's no, I don't think there's, I've learned from Civ 6, there's no such thing as a bad bit of space. In Civ 5, obviously your happiness can be affected, but they got Notre Dame. Like, they're probably doing fine. They only have, it's only their 4th city. Not really a problem. We do have some peace deals. The Shan have peaced out with Champa, and they also peaced out with the Xia, which makes perfect sense. That's all over. Whoa, what's going on there? I don't want to go up there. Chiang Kai-shek's China is still at war with them, and is trying to get through here with some weird open borders. This looks like a logistical nightmare, but they're getting through. The Xia declared war on Mongolia. How the tables... If the Xia come out of this as like big winners, that is going to be hilarious. And China will be so annoyed as well. And New Sarai, another new city for Mongolia. And I mean, do I even have to say it? They must be building these in like 2 turns. Maybe they are a bit broken. I have no idea. Well, maybe they are. I know there are some civs that are just broken and I've used by accident before. To be honest, I was just trying to find a roster of civs. I didn't read too much into their abilities. Who have we had? Vietnam. I used to use them. They were very OP though, everyone told me. Rhodesia is pretty... I think Rhodesia's pretty good as well. Like, I still use them, but... They're not as bad, but Vietnam has always done well. Like, they've never had a bad game. And then I used a Croatia once, and everyone told me afterwards, once they won the whole Civ 5 World Cup thing, like 3 years ago, that they were super overpowered. I was like, oh, great, thank you. Thanks for telling me a bit late, but that's okay. So they could happen. And obviously, these are a new Civ, right? I only used them for the first time in the last game, so maybe they are really good at getting wonders for some reason. But they've added another new city to connect their borders, and like I said, no bad cities. I think that's a good idea. Now, we are back. Sadly, we're not using the 60 Civ mod, so I am back to making proposals. But that's okay. We'll live. Now, one thing I want to note, just for future, with this new map pack I was thankfully told about, because there's so many cool maps in it that I'm going to use at some point. Also, some new cities here as well from Chiang Kai-shek's China. I think it's probably now going to be a lot, because it's got more settings and stuff you can play with. I think we might be able to do a game with city-states now, where I can finally have an AI battle with some city-states, and like, you know, again, just use a smaller portion. So Europe is the obvious place to come to mind, where we do a few of the main big civs in Europe, and then just have a ton of true start location city-states to fill out the rest of the gaps. That could be quite an interesting one. But yeah, like I said, I'm going to be able to do more mini games sort of now. I think that's going to be more of the focus, to be honest. Like, we'll obviously do the big ones every now and then with the whole world. But I think we've done so many variants of those now. I think going in to do mini ones like this that are quicker, easier to run, and more scenario based could be a lot more fun. And obviously I can still do variants of these kind of games. So obviously I've done some weird things before. I've put in land bridges and risen the sea levels, and I think lowered the sea levels. I think I did both. Or maybe that was one I was still supposed to do. I think that was sort of near to where I made the transition PC wise. So maybe I didn't make the one I was supposed to. China and Mongolia do peace out, and I mean, this China still has 2 good cities. It's not like a disaster, but that would have been annoying. And the Jar should grab this city back to at least, you know, slow Mongolia down a little bit. And Korea grabbed a 3rd city up here with Incheon, which I don't think is their normal 3rd city name. But cool, I guess maybe it's being influenced by the fact they're now South Korea. Now Japan has a 5th settler up here. And you're probably thinking 5th? What? But yeah, they did slap a 4th city down up here. I just saw on the mini-map, so there we go. 4 cities for Japan. They've also got some trade, cargo trade, all the way to New Siam. We've also got some caravels in the deep ocean. People discovering the Philippines, which is interesting. And yeah, Japan and China are about to settle up here, which is kind of the one of the last free areas on the map, right? There's some gaps. There's maybe gaps for one more city in all of this mess. Somewhere like here. Might squeeze one more in. Maybe one more in here. Maybe one up here. But that's about it, really. Not much other space. Probably a couple more could go on this coastline. One on this island, a couple on these islands, and then yeah, a couple down here. But that's about it, really. And I guess northern Japan, you could probably squeeze one in up here if they wanted to. And also, I mean, I was just mentioning, you know, the different mini scenarios we can sort of start to do and play with. I can obviously also play in those scenarios. It's easier to set up. The reason... play in the more difficult, you know, some of the AI scenarios that I set up that are more complex, I can't really play those, because when you play, if you go in the in-game editor and mess with things, it sometimes like affects it. I don't know if you remember when I did the 2 Sicilies game where we had to play with the whole map open the whole time. Stuff like that can happen, and obviously I have to use the in-game editor then to set things up, and it kind of can influence things. So if I want to do a play in a TSL scenario, I kind of want to just use civs that I know will spawn in the right place the first time. Don't have to move anybody, that sort of thing. But obviously with these little mini scenarios, like I said, like there's probably, I didn't look at all the maps, but you know, there's a Europe map, I'm sure, in this pack where I could just use all of the vanilla European civs and it would probably be fine. Like, there wouldn't be a need to fill certain areas. It would probably be perfect, right? So that could be interesting. But there is definitely a settler race here. China with 2 settlers. The Jar did not get anything off Mongolia, but they didn't lose too many units either, so it's not a disaster. It didn't go too badly. It's not completely downhill. China grabs the Globe Theatre and 2 new cities. This one right next to Korea to prevent their borders growing any more around this Bay Area. And this one as well pretty much prevents them coming any further this way, although Mongolia was already sort of doing that. But there we go. So it's great for China, I think. Their borders should take a good amount of this area, and it kind of keeps Korea at an arm's length from Beijing in particular. And we have the Ming with the Leaning Tower of Pisa, and their borders are massive. Again, it's linked to culture, so that might be why they have good culture. And we have faster plot expansion turned on, which helps them. But here we go, biggest militaries as of right now. Chiang Kai-shek's China in the lead with 5,000. Again, I mean, it's just a ranking. I don't know what this number actually relates to, because if I go in the info addicts, the number of soldiers is completely different to this as well. But it's some sort of ranking number that is just index or whatever that assigns values. The Jar though in second with, and this is quite a big lead for these two, both of them. So those two and they're next to each other, which is important to know. And Mongolia, so 3 civs that are all sort of on top of each other in a sandwich. The Jar are in the middle. So there you go. But yeah, we'll see how that goes for them. Japan is then in 4th and the Champa in 5th for now. And other big, we'll look at all of them for this because it's interesting. Korea currently sitting 6th. 7th then for the People's Republic of China. So the big 4 Western sort of nations are on this map anyway. Not really West at all, but you know, Western in this map are all in the top 7. 4 of the top 7 actually in there. Ming is in 8th, then it is Old Siam, or you know, original Siam in 9th. 10th then for Burma. China really fell off. They are now 11th and struggling. Liao's not doing that much. I reckon Ming and Liao, that might be the war. I think Ming would probably favoured for now at least. If they killed Liao, that would be pretty big. Even if they teamed up with China and split it in half or something. Could be interesting. New Siam then here, and then there's a big drop off to the Shan states, and in last place it is the Khmer, who are not doing too great, I'm afraid. Even with their pretty defensively focused religion. By the way, we're now 30 turns past where the game kept crashing previously, so I do think it was the North Korea mod that I was using. Not working, so that's a shame. Unless it was Singapore, in which case we're, you know, they just got removed because I looked at a map, so I feel bad for them. But there you go. The Shah complete the Taj Mahal. Another little wonder. I can't remember what that does in Civ 5. I know in Civ 6 it gives you more era score, but I can't remember exactly what it does in Civ 5, so apologies for that one. Is it something to do with Golden Age points? No, I don't know, but we could check. But I'm sure you guys know, or you know, most of you are probably just interested in the wars. I don't know how deep we need to go sometimes. Japan versus Korea again. We saw Japan had one of the bigger militaries there, but so did Korea. I think they were sort of 1 or 2 positions apart. And again, I don't think they're quite ready for this, Japan. They have now settled on the mainland, which is interesting, but I don't think they're not quite ready to launch a big invasion of Korea just yet. And actually, Korea's got all their turtle ships here, so this could be a bit of a disaster for Japan. Kyoto's up to 17. That's great. Tokyo's also at 16, so they'll be doing quite well, at least population. The map's already full, pretty much. It's only turn 100 or 99. That's pretty insane. Some research agreements coming through. Who we got? Siam and the Khmer. Okay, fair enough. Working together. Nearby. Could be allies. Makes sense. And then Tang China has denounced China. Now that doesn't actually clarify. It could be either of these. They all say China when you go in. But this China does have another new city. They've just been making the most out of their own territory they already owned, which nothing wrong with that. That's a good move. Pretty similar to what the PR China has done here with 2 more cities. So there we go. We hit turn 100. I'm now going to have a quick look at the religions and the info addicts again, because like I said, we're sort of flying through this one, so don't worry. And just for a heads up, the next episode will be out on Thursday, hopefully. It should be Thursday, unless I just get it unless something goes wrong. Essentially, it'll be Thursday, so keep an eye out for that. And if you're watching in the future and you're just watching back in the playlist or whatever, then don't worry about that at all. The next one is already there waiting for you. So a message to the future there. But the biggest religion so far is Catholicism from the Khmer. So there you go. At least they're getting something. They don't seem to be doing too well, but that's nice. Then in Islam from Liao is in 9 cities. It looks like, yeah, there's 5 religions. They've all been created now, so there's no new ones available. Buddhism then from the Shan is in 7. Taoism from China is in 5, and Confucianism from Korea also in 5. There we go. So they're up and running, but so far, Catholicism, the most popular religion in Southeast Asia, and then Islam in East Asia is the most popular. But let's have a look at the info addicts. I kind of want to save. I don't trust these games anymore. Here we go. Asia, AI only. Save game. We're spectating as the US, because I know the US is not in Asia. For once. I thought we'd give Venice a week off. Who the heck is that? This is score. Oh, this is the... Okay, so this must be why the People's Republic of China won the score on the last game. Because all those wonders, right? So, not the best graph, but there we go. We can have a look at some of them. Okay, it's not... The military one's still a bit messed up, because obviously I had a ton of giant death robots at one point. I don't know how these guys have caught up, because I had like 30 giant death robots, if not more. This line should... Maybe this line's just capped here, but we can see everyone. I can actually turn myself... Oh no, you can't turn your line off. That's annoying. You can just not highlight it. But here you can see some rises and falls. Who is this in blue? This is Chiang Kai-shek's China. Here's the Xia and Mongolia, I'm guessing, in the red. And then this red is probably the People's Republic of China. And this grey line is probably Japan. But yeah, we can obviously highlight some of the... If we want to highlight more of the countries we want to see in the future, we can do that. But for now, let's have a look at the world rankings. Who did I pick, by the way? I've forgotten already. That shows you. I forgot. It was yesterday. I picked Japan, so we want them to do well. I'm pretty sure I picked Japan. So hopefully they can do better going forward. Population then. It was, I think, last time it was like all 3 of the Chinas winning, or 3 of the top 4. But now it is People's Republic of China in first, the first country with 10 million people. The Xia with 9 million, Champa 8 million, Tang China 7 million, and then the Shan states, one of a few, on 6 million. Crop yield, Mongolia now has the largest crop yield ahead of the Xia, and then the People's Republic of China, then the Shan states, and then Chiang Kai-shek's China. Manufactured goods, the Xia lead the way, then it is Mongolia again. Those 4 in the big 4 in the west, I think they're all doing well. So that's something, it's going to be an interesting battle between them, particularly because the People's Republic of China, they don't have anywhere else to go. They have to fight one of them now if they want to get bigger. Like, the other 3 can all sort of dip. Chiang Kai-shek's China can dip into Southeast Asia. The Xia can go east to like Liao, Tang China, or down into Ming. And Mongolia can obviously go up against sort of Tang China as well. But there we go, we'll see. They make up 3 of the top 4, all 4 of the top 4, sorry, between them. And then the Champa sit just outside of that. In terms of economy, the biggest is currently the Xia, then it is New Siam, then the Champa, then Ming, and then Mongolia. Land area, here we go, Mongolia leading the way just at 1.2 million. It's 1.1 million for the People's Republic of China. Then Ming at 1 million. They do look really big on the mini-map, again, because they are just a large blob. It helps, right? Mongolia is quite thin and snaky. Some of the other ones are split up. I mean, the People's Republic of China is pretty big as well as a blob, so they're up there too. But Ming, it's just like a very obvious looking white blob on that part of the map. The Xia in 4th and the Shan states in 5th. Military manpower then. Who's got the biggest at the moment? Chiang Kai-shek's China, then Mongolia, and then the Xia. Japan in 4th, and then the People's Republic of China in 5th. Social policies, PR China is leading the way, then it is Burma, both Siams, and the Xia, one of many actually, with 11. Happiness, is anyone negative right now? No, everyone's just about managing. Mongolia's at 0, but there we go. And technologies, China, Chiang Kai-shek's China, biggest military, but worst technology, they sit at 30. That seems terrible, to be honest. Scroll at the 15 civs. Liao is at 32. Mongolia and Burma and Ming all at 33. Tang China, Shan, Champa all at 34. Both Siams and the Khmer at 35. And then the top 4, South Korea, or just Korea, 36. And that is the same for the Xia and the People's Republic of China, who did get the Great Library, maybe in there. But it is actually Japan leading the way. And that's probably because they didn't have many cities as well, something like that contributing. But there you go, Japan, and their religion actually. Japan's religion, I think for every city they convert, they get 2 science. So they have like 5 at the moment. I think all 5 of their own cities. Problem for them is now, who do you convert it to next? Because Korea's religion's doing okay as well, and they're the only civ sort of nearby. But, you know, that's helping them. Some extra science. They lead the way at the moment, which is great for me. I picked them. Net gold, I'm not using this in the results anymore, but we'll have a look at it anyway. The Xia are currently making the most gold per turn. Then Siam, Ming, Champa, Mongolia. If you're not sure what I mean by that, if you're new around here, the economy stat for GMP we used earlier is just income, right? So that doesn't include any of the gold you're spending. So that's just what you're making in your cities and your trade routes. Net gold includes what you're spending. So this is the gold per turn number that we see when we play the game. And this, so the Xia are making a ridiculous amount of gold per turn at 237, for example. So on to cities. Mongolia does have the most at the moment with 8. Then it is Chiang Kai-shek's China with 7. 5 then for the Xia, Shan, Japan, and the People's Republic as the bigger ones. Science output. The Champa currently lead the way. Then the Xia, then the Shan states, then the People's Republic of China and Japan. Mongolia and Chiang Kai-shek's China, who were right at the bottom of technologies, are 6th and 7th, so they're probably going to catch up. But they have lots of cities, so it isn't going to be easy because it makes it cost more. Culture-wise, People's Republic of China leading the way, then the Xia, Burma, Tang China, and the Khmer. Wonders, China with 10, People's Republic of China, that is. South Korea then with 3, and then it's 2 for Ming, the Xia, Siam, and Tang. Treasury we won't look at, some of them spend money, same goes for faith. I mean, some of it's spent. Some of these civs with the highest faith gain don't even have religions, so it's like, oh. Is that per turn? No, total, sorry, faith gain. 46, that's still really good for a civ that has no religion. It's like, fair enough. I'm sure there's some things you can use it on. I'm probably forgetting, but you can use it on other things, so it's not a complete waste. But that makes sense as to why they have this. The new Siam is pretty rubbish, right? They haven't built many units or anything because they've probably been focusing on getting that faith and then couldn't use it, sadly. Influence, no one's influential. Great works, Burma and China lead the way with 5s. 4s here for Siam, the Jar, Tang, and South Korea. Trade routes, Siam, China, Jar, Shan states. Okay, lots of 6s and a few 5s. Tourism, People's Republic is leading. That isn't to do with the wonders, but obviously they have a lot of wonders, so kind of makes sense, from a real life perspective. Tang, China, and Burma then joint second, and then it's 8 for the Jar, Siam, and South Korea. Now, how far are we into this episode? What are we on? Oh, perfect, 30 minutes. There we go. Well, that will be it for today's episode. Next one, we'll probably do something fairly similar. We might not quite make it to 150 in time or whatever, or we might overrun a little bit, but it seems to be working just fine. We've already got some civs with musket men, so we're making it fairly through. We are on quick speed, and it is deity difficulty. So yeah, we should be able to get quite far with this game in the space of like 2 weeks. We should probably be at like turn 250, 300. So I hope you're enjoying it. As always, if you have enjoyed, do be sure to leave a like and a comment down below. Be sure to subscribe as well, and if you have any feedback or things like that, that's much appreciated. Be sure to check out some of the streams that are coming up and other things. There's a Discord in the description if you want to join. I don't know, I'm just trying to plug anything that needs plugging right now. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.